Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Somebody has been commenting over and over and over and over and over again, that I am a clergy response team who's going to lead the people astray with Romans 13 or something like that. I know the deal with Romans 13. I'm going to explain that in this video. I don't think you're going to like it. And I looked up clergy response teams, and I don't know if they're true or not, or it's a conspiracy theory. I don't care, so comment away. But it's the kind of what I found out on the internet was these are pastors that FEMA or Department of Homeland Security or somebody, they have contacted, and when the time comes, they're going to help calm the people down in times of crisis. It could actually be an okay thing. It could also be a bad thing. Either way, nobody's contacted me, so there you go. But let's talk about Romans 13, because like I said, I don't think you're going to like what I have to tell you. But hey, I don't preach to tickling ears, so there you go. So let's just look at it real quick. Romans 13, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resists the power, resist the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. All right, so you've got to obey the powers because God put them there. Now, a lot of Christians take this verse to mean the powers that be, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, to be government, right? And it makes people go, well, what if the government is bad? And then the standard answer is, well, sometimes God puts bad leaders in charge to judge a people. But if you take that line of reasoning further, well, what if the leaders tell us to do something that goes against God? Well, if it's that case, then we won't do it. Well, that's not what it says. It says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. There's no if. There's no as long as. It's be subject to the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. These powers aren't put there except that God puts them there. The powers that be are ordained of God. And so if you resist the powers, you're resisting this ordinance of God, and you shall receive a greater damnation. So let's look into this a little bit more, because here's what I'm here to tell you. It's not the government that they're talking about. It's not your president, your congressman, your police officers, or anything else like that. For rulers, this is verse 3. Rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. So hey, these powers aren't a terror to good works, but to evil. Well, how do you define good? Let's keep going a little bit. No, yes, for he is a minister of God to thee for good. Right there's the key. He's a minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain, for he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Right here, Paul is referring to leaders, authorities in the church, right? Authorities that are ordained by God over the people. This is who you're supposed to listen to. This is who you're supposed to not do wrong. These are the people who are going to tell you what is good. How are they going to tell you what is good? Because they're reading from the Word of God Himself, right? That is what they preach. That is what I preach, from the Word of God. And so you are supposed to, let's go back here to King James, be subject unto the higher powers. You're supposed to listen to them, right? Now, I know y'all don't like hearing that. You're going to not like this even more. Wherefore ye must needs be subject, not only for the wrath, but also for your conscience sake. All right? Look at verse 6. For this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. You're supposed to pay your pastors. I know, people will go off on huge tangents on that too. Go ahead. This is not talking about the powers that be as far as politicians, political power, military power, things like that. It's not what it's talking about. It's talking about the pastors. I will give you pastors after my own heart who will feed you with knowledge and with understanding. I tell people that all the time. I'm one of those pastors. Now, I'll feed you with knowledge and with understanding. You get to decide if you're going to eat or not. All right. I hope I cleared that up a little bit. Whatever this clergy response team is, it ain't me, and I don't think I preach Romans 13 the way that they would like it preached, and quite frankly, I don't think it's the way that most Christians understand it either. Listen to your pastors, those pastors who are preaching the word correctly. There's another whole can of worms. All right. Hey, if you're interested in more, you can check out my YouTube channel, Shofar Mountain. That's where the sermons are on a regular basis. We also have another site, shofarmountain.com. You can go there and check us out there too. All right. I'll see you out there.